Consider the question of angry left-wing mobs. They seem to be everywhere all of a sudden in this formerly placid country. They're yelling at Republicans in restaurants and airports. They're pounding on the front doors of the Supreme Court. They're blocking intersections, threatening passersby on the street. This is the youth wing of the Democratic Party. Yet the Democratic Party's position is they do not exist. There are no mobs. Ignore your lying eyes. Well, not surprisingly, the media are suddenly saying exactly the same thing. Watch this Orwellian exchange from CNN yesterday.
When you see people like Ted Cruz getting chased out of restaurants by a mob.
You're not going to use the mob word here.
It's totally a mob. It is without a doubt. There's no other word for it. It's a go watch it. Put up the video.
Mob, stop.
So a mob is not actually a mob because the word mob is not allowed on television anymore. But wait. Aren't journalists supposed to be the champions of clear language? Well, not when euphemism better serves their political goals. If banning words is what it takes to help the Democratic Party, they're happy to do it. At least Eric Holder is brave enough to speak the truth without euphemism. Holder isn't some dopey CNN anchor taking orders from his superiors. He's the former Attorney General of the United States, the country's chief law enforcement officer. Holder doesn't need to pretend that a mob isn't a mob. He's running for president as a Democrat. His job is to assemble mobs and send them out on behalf of the Democratic Party. And that's exactly what he did today. Watch this.
Michelle says that, when they go low, we go high. No. When they go low, we kick them.
Kick them! Yay, yells the mob. Why not shoot them or burn them? Good question. Why not? The former Attorney General has given his permission to get physical. Don't be surprised when they obey.
This is a Fox News alert. The man suspected of mailing more than a dozen apparent pipe bombs to prominent Democrats and media figures has been arrested and charged in the state of Florida. The suspect, Cesar Sayoc Jr., has been charged with 5 federal counts. He could face decades in prison if convicted on those. Fox News' Phil Keating is outside the FBI offices in Miramar, Florida for us tonight and has the very latest on this developing story. Phil?
Tucker, the man accused of mailing political pipe bomb packages to 14 high-profile Democrats over the past 4 days. Well, he's behind bars tonight, including 2 presidents were receiving these packages, and this put the nation in a chaotic watch for the suspect for 3 days. 56-year-old Cesar Sayoc, described by those who knew him as a hateful, disturbed man with extreme political views, seen walking in custody this afternoon from the Miami FBI building to an SUV to be transported to downtown Miami's Federal Detention Center, where he is tonight. 56-year-old Sayoc now faces 5 federal counts, including illegal mailing of explosives and making threats against former presidents. If convicted on each, he faces 48 years in federal prison, basically the rest of his life. After a 4th morning of political pipe bombs being discovered, suddenly the FBI made the arrest at an AutoZone parking lot in Broward County. That revealed the man's very unique van, which he'd apparently been living in, placarded with dozens upon dozens of ideological stickers and decals, including one of President Trump rising from the flames of a burning American flag and a Hillary Clinton face in the crosshairs. That van was then covered with a blue tarp and escorted under heavy guard to the FBI's Miami division, all broadcast live on national TV. This afternoon from Washington, the Attorney General said any political zealot who turns violent of any stripe will pay heavily.
We will bring the full force of law against anyone who attempts to use threats, intimidation, and outright violence to further an agenda. We will find you. We will prosecute you to the fullest extent of the law.
Federal investigators suspected that the package bombs may have come from the South Florida Postal Sorting Center, and overnight, sure enough, after evacuating the building, FBI and Miami-Dade police went in, searched, and found bomb number 11, that one addressed to Democratic Senator Cory Booker. It was there but had not yet been sent off to his office. Now, Sayoc has a lengthy criminal history going back numerous years. That includes a 2002 threat to use a bomb and a 2014 shoplifting case. Well, those put his fingerprints in the national database, and that helped FBI agents make a match to a fingerprint found on the package sent to California's Maxine Waters. Tucker.
Phil Keating for us in Florida tonight. Thank you, Phil. Dan Bongino, former Secret Service agent, author of Spygate, joins us tonight. Dan, this, I guess this is always true, is not exactly what we expected. When this man's apprehended, he turns out to be a middle-aged male stripper who identifies as an American Indian. These bombs may or may not have been operative. What do we know about this story that we didn't know yesterday? What conclusions can we draw from the facts we have right now? If this man did what he is accused of doing, the profile is, I don't think, what you would expect. Again, this is a man in his mid-50s who identifies anyway as a Seminole Indian and has worked apparently for decades as a male stripper. You typically think of crimes like this as being committed by young men. He's not. Neither was the shooter in Las Vegas. Are we wrong in thinking that mass killing is typically inspired or carried out by young people?
Well, in this case, Tucker, I would attribute a lot of this, and I've seen this in some of the investigations I conducted into similar threat cases where the mail was used, whether the mail a threat or not. Narcissism may be at play here, and I mean extreme narcissism. Yeah. I don't mean looking in the mirror and combing your hair. I mean, when you look at the background of this guy, apparently, again, these are allegations, of course, but a former coworker said he was a steroid user, was obsessed with working out. This extreme narcissism and thinking you're somehow going to change the political process and you're the guy to turn this around, it's actually not that uncommon.